So let's have a little. I've actually already put these into my main watercolour palette. Let's do it below. Let's go here. And then maybe we'll do one that's a little bit more watered down. There we go. So that can be quite a, to be honest, that's the kind of yellow that I have in my palette. I very rarely have any bright yellows in my palette. When you've got something like a really nice yellow ochre that you can water down, that seems to work for me. Or sometimes I just use the quinacridone bronze watered down, and that gives a lovely yellow as well. Now this colour surprised me. I did see someone else swatching it on YouTube. It's the Bright Green Lake. I'm not sure that it's one that I would use on its own. I'd probably use it more for mixing, but it just seemed like such a happy colour. And I thought, I don't know, for maybe some spring paintings. Oh, and look, when it's watered down, it's very nice too. Yeah, I just thought that I could either use it for mixing, or when I'm doing some paintings that are sort of springtime paintings, I just thought, yes, go on, have a brighter green in your palette. So our next one is quinacridone coral. So let's see what that one's like. The only other red I have on my palette is the Scarlet Lake Light from Michael Harding. And let's see what happens if we have that a bit more watered down. Oh, that's a very pretty pink then. There we go. So that's our quinacridone coral. My next colour is called Vivid Blue. There we go. And I'll just water that one down a bit more. I can see that being useful for some skies. Let's have a little look at Blue Verditer. Oh, that's a rather lovely colour. And then if we just water that down, there we go. There's our Blue Verditer. And finally, Indigo. Let's just water that down a bit more. Oh, there we go. So that's lovely. I think my palette is probably just about full now. I'll just bring these up, and so that you can get a better look. There's our yellow ochre. There's our Bright Green Lake, Quin Coral. We have our Vivid Blue, Blue Verditer, and our indigo. So I think that's going to make a lovely addition to my watercolours. So in case any of you would like to see, I've already added them into my main palette. That's my point of reference, so that I know what I've got in my palette, and this is what my palette looks like. So I think I've got a little space there. 1, 2, 3. I could maybe buy 3 more paints at some time, but for the minute I think I'm very happy with the colours that I have here. I have already, if I turn this around, yeah, there we go, just mind the wet paint on the back. I've actually swatched out my whole collection, bearing in mind I've got that whole bright rose at the bottom right there. I can't not have that on my palette. But the rest are all Michael Harding paints, and I thought it would be fun to see which of my coloured pencils might go over the top of some of these, or maybe even see what kind of mixes we can get if we mix some of them, a couple of colours together. But I think I'm just obsessed with these Michael Harding paints at the moment. For those of you that don't know Michael Harding that well, he's actually grew up in Kent in the United Kingdom. He is an artist himself. He uses both oil and watercolours. But funnily enough, he says he uses his oils like watercolours and his watercolours like oils. But he's obsessed with colour, and I have to say that these paints are truly beautiful. They re-wet really nicely once you've squeezed them out of the tube into a pan. They're known for their colour strength, their vibrancy, their clarity and longevity. So and I think there's I think it's 136. There's 136 colours to choose from the watercolour range. So I'm going to be playing a lot more with my paints, working out all my favourite mixes. But yes, this makes me want to not use any of my other paints that I have, and I do have lots of others. I've got a few Sennelier, I've got Daniel Smith, I've got the Horadam ones. I've got lots of paints, but at the minute I just keep reaching for these. So, okay, hopefully I'll see you again next time, when I might be trying out using some coloured pencils and maybe some Neocolor 2s over the top of some of these gorgeous Michael Harding paints, or maybe even mixing some of the paints. But that's it for now, just a quickie. See you next time.